just want to backtrack a little bit to what you talked about with self-determination. So what do you exactly mean, first of all, by self-determination? What does that entail in your...
Well, we believe in modern self-determination, firstly. We don't want to go back to apartheid. Nobody wants to go back to apartheid. But good examples, for instance, if you look in Canada, for instance, you take the province of Quebec. Quebec is a good example of what self-determination is, in this sense that, I mean, their language, in that specific case French, and the protection they have on that. If you go, for instance, to Great Britain, the Scottish people want self-determination. They already had 2 referendums. They're trying for the 3rd one. I think they're going to win it. Even if you go to Africa, if you go to Sudan, the solution was a North and a South Sudan. If you go, for instance, to Ethiopia, in the 70s there was a civil war where more than 100,000 people actually died in the war. In the end, self-determination accumulated into Eritrea, which became an independent state, and Ethiopia. And there was peace for quite a long time. And that's what we see from self-determination. If you come back to South Africa, the Freedom Front Plus say, well, if you listen to the government, they have a problem with the Afrikaner. Everything is blamed on the Afrikaner. Affirmative action, black economic empowerment is excluding white people to participate to their fullest potential in the economy. Now we say, what we mean by self-determination, if you have a problem, give us, and to put it in simple terms, give us a 10th province. But in that province, you must give us certain powers. And I take the United States of America as an example. You have 50 states. In California, for instance, they still have the death penalty. But if you go to the state of New York, they don't believe in the death penalty. So the state or the province has certain powers. And that's what we strive for in South Africa. And you must remember, we were actually the initiators to ensure Section 235 in the Constitution of South Africa. Now, Constitution and Section 235 provides for self-determination. But it also determines that national legislation must be compiled to give effect of Section 235. We don't have that piece of legislation. And that is what we will have as Freedom Front Plus at this moment to ensure that we get that legislation.
So is it, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's, in the South African case, one of the kind of best ways that we might get self-determination is by empowering the federal system that we already have in place more. So devolve powers away from the national government to the state, to the provinces. And in that way we might have, you know, the Northwest Cape and the Western Cape, who have maybe different beliefs, being able to pursue better their beliefs. Is that something that you would agree with?
Precisely. In this, to use an example, I always say that self-determination, we must remember, is a process. It's not a final product that you can buy from a shop. It's a process. And self-determination, the end result, is through federalism. That means the devolving of powers to provinces. Like, for instance, and maybe we can talk on that further on, like system, for instance, where we say that they must have certain powers. If you go to the tax situation, we should get to a certain situation where a province, the taxes collected in that specific province, a huge percentage of that should be spent in that specific province. It shouldn't be given to the national government to spend. So that's only a few examples I've mentioned, but you're quite right. It is through federalism and the powers to govern in that specific province is that we want more and more devolution of power.
And I do have to ask though, how does the devolution of power, moderate self-determination, help all South Africans, not just protect minority groups?
Well, firstly, if I take the example of tax again, I didn't say that all the taxes of a specific province should be kept in that province. So the national government will gain from that profit. But, for instance, say the Afrikaner has a specific province and they govern there. Firstly, we believe in free market system. We don't believe in affirmative action. We don't believe in black economic empowerment because we say that's detrimental to the economy of South Africa. So in that specific province, if you have those powers, we will do away with that. And we believe that that will create a prosperous economy. And of course, then the national government and all the people of South Africa will reap some of those fruits because there will be more taxes available for the national government, to put it in simple terms.